Today, no other base is better suited to train our F-16 pilots and maintainers for the challenges we face worldwide than Luke Air Force Base. Upon graduation, Luke pilots are armed with invaluable experience gained from training in near-combat conditions and environments that mirror those they'll likely find in theater.
During my Air Force career, I had 3 different tours at Luke. During that entire time, Luke was all about training young fighter pilots. And the fact is, Luke's been in that business ever since it was built in 1941.
It is a training base, but it also has an operational mission. We flew missions there in support of the Noble Eagle after 9/11. And so while we do train, we have an operational mission in the defense of our nation. During the time of our conflicts in Iraq and other places, we quite often saw that our students would leave Luke, and within 60 days they're in combat. So it was a very critical mission for our nation.
West Valley Partners is a coalition of 14 West Valley communities whose sole purpose is to protect the long-term mission of Luke Air Force Base.
What we have done from the City of Phoenix's standpoint is to acquire property over the last couple of decades by the airport. We've exchanged that property with deed restrictions to make sure that no development can occur without the authority and permission of Luke Air Force Base.
Glendale annexed Luke Air Force Base in 1995 so that we could better manage land use in and around the base.
And we work together to balance the individual needs of the area, but recognizing that we have to make sure Luke, which is part of that group, succeeds, is allowed to train its pilots, and at the same time keep the airspace safe.
In Maricopa County, we have 2 auxiliary fields, and we treat those auxiliary fields the same as we do off the end of the runways at Luke. So it's necessary for us to protect those places where the airplanes are coming down and getting close to the ground and then taking off again. They're as important to us and as important to the training of Luke Air Force Base as the base is itself.
Sky Harbor International Airport is one of the 10 busiest airports in the nation. It happens to be located within 10 minutes of downtown Phoenix in the center of our valley. We have a critical mission to make sure that Sky Harbor continues to prosper. Realizing that is critical, we also balance that with making sure Luke succeeds. So we work together over the years, and as issues come up, as things develop, then the working group gets together and works those issues out. It's really the model that we want. It's not to say no, it's to say how we can all do it.
The various pieces of legislation that were enacted in Arizona have become very important, not only to Luke, but actually to military installations around the nation.
We must continue to keep Luke a viable base today with its current mission and into the future, both for the freedom of this country and for the economic development opportunities.
We can't stop growth. Arizona is a growth state, but we can manage growth.
To train the world's greatest F-16 fighter pilots and maintainers while deploying mission-ready warfighters. That is the mission of Luke Air Force Base. From the first class graduated in 1941 to those graduating today, the pilots and crew chiefs of Luke Air Force Base are among the best the world has to offer. Today, Luke is home to the 56th Fighter Wing, one of the most decorated in Air Force history, as well as the home of the 944th Fighter Wing. The training they receive here at Luke includes advanced tactics and large force employment exercises that prepare them for combat in conditions which approximate those they'll encounter when deployed.
After training, I got stationed at Masao Air Base. From there, I was deployed to Iraq for 4 months in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom. I chose to come back to Luke based on the mission that they do here. Luke provides the best training for new F-16 pilots because of the weather here allows us to fly many days out of the year without being hampered by either rain, clouds, or any other weather factors.
Luke produces the finest pilots in the entire United States Air Force, making Luke uniquely suited to its role in keeping our nation secure. They achieve this status in part by employing superior classroom training and advanced simulators. Luke also produces the highest level of professional maintainers, as evidenced by receipt of the Air Force Dedallion Award. The infrastructure and facilities at Luke Air Force Base are first-rate, as you would expect to find at the home of the world's largest fighter wing. Whether it's state-of-the-art munitions, hush houses, modern ramps, runways, and aprons, Luke Air Force Base has what it takes to maintain a high degree of readiness for the mission.
The BMGR restricted airspace is about 1.7 million acres, and we can expand that up to 5.4 million acres when we start to incorporate other adjoining airspaces, which really helps us accommodate large force employment exercises and give the air-to-air training the standoff capability that they need, as well as being able to accommodate the larger footprint weapons, the JDAM, which is a Joint Directed Attack Munition, and laser-guided bombs. Within the confines of the BMGR restricted airspace, we support over 50,000 sorties a year, both day and night, so we're busy.
Even though we're so close to a very populated city, we still have the ranges available that we can fly out and provide realistic training with live munitions safely away from the community and still provide realistic training for the students. The terrain at Barry Goldwater Range is a desert terrain, which is similar to where they could be when they get deployed to either Iraq or Afghanistan. So they expect to see the same things once they get into that combat situation.
The bottom line is Arizona has protected airspace and training range space that is incomparable. The whole combination is truly, as I said, it's a national asset, it's a national treasure, and it would be pretty much, you couldn't duplicate it anywhere else in America.
With nearly limitless visibility, low-level training routes, multiple military operating areas with varied terrain, and the unmatched number of day and night sorties that can be run each year, Luke provides a comprehensive training program that continually produces the best pilots and crews in the world.
The students are here for roughly 6 to 9 months, and that's the quickest time you can put a student through all the F-16 training. We have close to 365 days of training here that we can fly continuously without being grounded from weather.
Luke is vital to more than just the United States Air Force. Every year, Luke hosts and trains pilots and personnel from the Marines, the Navy, and Special Operations Forces. We even train pilots from international forces, enabling more seamless efforts in multinational operations.
The quality of life here at Luke Air Force Base is fantastic and is an exciting place to be. We just have wonderful neighbors, wonderful friends. We've also been able to participate with a number of different activities at the children's school. They have fairs and carnivals and different events and fine arts, as well as the local shopping, the boutiques, the Arrowhead Mall. It's a great community. This is one of the best places that we've ever been stationed.
It's important to remember that Arizona over the years has been very supportive of the base. The laws and the regulations that have been passed in the state and in the surrounding communities have been held up as a model. And in fact, during the recent BRAC hearings, or the Base Closure Commission, Arizona was cited as the model state for legislation actions on the community and the state level if they in fact wanted to sustain their bases over the long term.
We put together this small team of people that would carry policy across military administrations and be able to develop those long-term, face-to-face trust relationships with the local leadership. We have had some great leadership by our mayors, our 2 senators, and our local congressmen to take some very tough decisions, and what they have done is made it work.
Always ready, always willing, always able. That's Luke Air Force Base. In partnership with the local communities, the state of Arizona, community leaders, and elected officials, Luke Air Force Base is positioned to continue their mission in defense of our nation. Luke forward.